3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? It's another Ash Wednesday. That means it's new comic book day. And I'm still without Batman 92. Hence, Diamond sucks. This is Stan the Man. Welcome back, buddy. And we got Forky. These are the two co-hosts of the channel. And today, I've got an In-N-Out Burger, like always. If you're new to the channel, you'll get in the swing of things. You'll be like, what's this weirdo who has burgers on his channel? Got myself today an extra large pink lemonade because it's a hot summer day. And a few things go better with your In-N-Out double than a pink lemonade. Speaking of which, let's get right down to it because these things get cold. And it sucks when I take a long time to prepare for the video and then I have to eat a cold burger. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to unbox. Some people do interesting unboxings. They'll do, tech gadgets and things like that. One of the guys I watch, you ever heard of Unbox Therapy? He's got like a zillion viewers. Makes a bunch of money just opening tech products, and now companies send him awesome tech products. And I wish I would have thought of that first, but maybe someone will send me burgers one day. So I can do. This one got a little jostled in the car. So it doesn't look as picture perfect as it normally does, but it's going to taste awesome. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. And then we're going to get talking comics. I don't have very much today because half the books I didn't get. Because you guessed it, Diamond. Diamond sucks. Stay tuned. Oh man, those double doubles are delicious. I never get sick of them. And it feels good to be going back to In-N-Out regular every week. I went without for a couple months during the pandemic, but it's like the pandemic has gone away. I just wasn't buying comics, so I wasn't going out and getting food. I think I went once, maybe twice. I don't think so. I think I went once outside of my normal Wednesday comic book thing. So it's kind of cool to get back in the ritual, and it's something I look forward to. I've talked about this in the past, like make your new comic day something to celebrate, something to enjoy. I hear a lot of people sometimes I'm talking and they talk about new comics, kind of, I gotta go to the comic book shop and I don't know if I feel like going. And it's like, this is your hobby. This is the thing that you do for fun. Like, if you can't be enthused about it, if you're not passionate, I'm not trying to tell you to get out of comics, but I guess what I'm trying to tell you is find that passion again. I mean, this is your leisure time, your recreation should be the highlights of your life. This will be what you live for. Anyways, I'm not here to lecture you. I know how it feels. I actually felt that way today. I got out, I was like, I got a couple books. I don't know if I want to go to the store. So I get the feeling, but that's why I'm suggesting doing things to heighten the experience. Like I have my ritual going to In-N-Out. If you don't have an In-N-Out near you, maybe you have your own favorite eatery. Make a thing out of it, right? Make a ritual. Make it, whether, even if you're not hungry, just like maybe go get your favorite beverage or something, like to just add to the experience of new comic book day. But I don't really have much to talk about. So, the same old shit's going on. Don't want to keep hounding on that. Jerry Conway is recently in the news. We talked about the Punisher, Black Lives Matter bullshit on the last live stream. There's some comic culture war stuff going on. Apparently some comic artists are getting canceled. Some writers, I guess Warren Ellis is on the chopping block now. Some guy, Cameron Stewart, got Twitter Me Too'd, I guess. It's just a big cluster F, like everyone is just wanting to cancel everyone. Aunt Jemima is now canceled because of Black Lives Matter. I think Uncle Ben's getting canceled. Everyone's just getting canceled. So, about this. So I'm going to talk about something else. viewer mail. It's a segment that I was trying to get off the ground once upon a time, and then pandemic happened. I stopped getting mail, stopped checking my mail. So if you want to, obviously leave comments in the video, questions. You can also Twitter me, ash1138 at gmail.com is my Twitter address. And if you want to send longer form questions, my DMs are open. I'm open to questions, things like that. I love dialogue. I love talking to people, even if I don't disagree, as long as we can have a rational, respectful discussion. I don't have time for people that just want to, start straw manning and be intellectually dishonest. I get that all the time on Twitter. People fight me back, and it's like they don't listen to my arguments. They don't actually bring anything to the table. That's whatever. But if you want to have a discussion about, even if you disagree, believe me, I know my opinions are not 100% correct. No one's opinions are 100% correct. And the key is recognizing that and knowing that everyone has something to say. Even if someone is 99% wrong, they have 1% of being right that's worth listening to, right? You don't have to accept someone's opinions. I get in debates and discussions all the time, and I might walk away and say, man, that person was way wrong. But I can walk away oftentimes and have a few snippets, a few little crumbs, if you will, of things that, that wasn't quite off, and that helps give you a better perspective, and it also helps you form a connection with people, right? If you just focus on your differences and disagreements, it just causes more divide, and we got enough about that. So, without further ado, Dane Barrett, who's become a regular contributor to my comment section in the channel, and I really appreciate his viewership. He responds for my last Ash Wednesday video. It says, "The thundering return of Ash Wednesday, yay." I appreciate that. Believe me, I'm not a big channel. I'm a tiny little, tadpole in a very huge ocean of YouTube. I'm nothing. And, it's oftentimes, we're all human, right? I don't go out there with this narcissistic ideas that I'm some sort of big shot, but we're all human, and we all have self-consciousness and things like that. And it's oftentimes I go out there and I'm like, am I just making a fool of myself? Am I just, maybe I am. I'm sure there's probably people who are saying, oh, Ash is a freaking idiot. But having a couple people give you some positive response, I don't need smoke blown up my skirt, but it's nice to have someone say, hey man, it's cool. I like what you do. Appreciate that, Dane. Big E, comments as Mr. Show Dude. Big E, thank you. Good to see you back in the comments. I remember you from before. Dragon Majesty says, Ash triumphant. Yes, Ash Wednesdays is back. Long live the burger. Thank you, Dragon. Always fun to see you in the live streams and chats. And I appreciate all your support. And hopefully, I got to tell you, that burger didn't live very long. Next, Dane Barrett, it's a familiar name. He writes in, when I was a callow 5th grader, I had been reading comics and sci-fi for years already. About halfway through the year, our teacher, Miss Eileen Thompson, decided that in order to get us to settle down and do our work, she'd read us a chapter of this book every day last period. That book was The Hobbit by Tolkien. It changed my life. You reading this issue, which was Birthright, the series I did on the Storytime Live thing that I do, you reading this issue has given me the same glowy feeling at 62 as that 10-year-old. Rousing story, amazingly beautiful art, especially those Otherworld pages, gorgeous. Thank you for introducing us to this. And, thank you. Thank you for hearing me, listening to me, letting me share it with you. Birthright is something that I have been phenomenally impressed by. I told this story before that I did originally. We did it on the Ash and Bat show a long time ago. Those videos are still up. It's a single stream about Birthright. We did the first trade paperback. We used to basically do it like a reading club. We'd pick one trade every week. Birthright came up. Neither Bats nor I had read it. So I was like, I've kind of always been curious about this. So I suggested it. We read it. I was blown away. The following week, I went on eBay and found a lot of like the whole series. Well, at the time, it was like 1 through 33, plus the first trade, which I gave to my buddy because I had the 1 through 6 comics. I didn't need the trade 2s, and I wanted to share that, and so I gave that to him, and then I've been collecting the books ever since. So I really liked it. I think it's a book that doesn't get enough attention. Because of what it is, and because most comic fans are into the DC and the Marvel, the big superheroes, which I understand. That's what I was too. And I was like, I just want to share this. So I did the live stream where I read the first 6 issues again, but I actually read them. I didn't just cover them. And it was a pretty positive response. I think everyone really liked it, and Dane really liked it. I believe he commented before, said he went and picked up all the trades. He thanked me, talked about, I thought this was a really cool comment. I wanted to address it. I want to talk about Birthright any chance I get. So thanks, Dane, for telling me this. This is encouraging. It lets me know that my promotion of this material and my passion for it and wanting to share it isn't unnoticed, and it's appreciated. So thank you. Moving on, Dave Asanowicz. He is a long-time, he's been a viewer of my channel, but I think I might have been following him on Twitter even before I had a channel. It's hard to say when you go back now several years. I lose track of what he says. Here's the deal: my old LCS, which I used to love, the owner came out making excuses for rioters, and the Scott Snyder did his whole anti-Trump thing. So I'm done with comics for the most part. I'll get back issues at flea markets maybe. Oh, and Ollie's. And this struck me because Dave used to do these videos not on YouTube. He does actually have a YouTube channel, by the way. It's Back Issue Binge. You should check it out if you like really old stuff and obscure comics and things. It's neat. But he used to do these videos on Twitter, and they were like 1 or 2 minute videos. And it was just his haul list. He didn't do it like me. He's the opposite of me, where I stretch out a comic book haul list into a 45-minute escapade. But he would do these little videos, and he'd park in front of his comic book store, and he'd be in his car, and he had a little box that was open, and he'd had some cool, hard rock or metal music playing, and it was, his comic books he got for the week, and he just went through and rattled it off, and it was his comic book store. Then he moved out of state. But his comic book store, I guess, was sharing, or he would mail order the comics and stuff like that. So I know he really liked that comic book store because he kept buying from him out of state. And this has got to be very disappointing. But this particular comment struck me because we're living in a pretty volatile time. I certainly don't shy about talking about it. In fact, I have to restrain myself. I want to talk about it more, but I don't want to push anyone away. There's rioting going on. The progressive culture is out of control. And it's very easy to kind of feel this way, especially when you're into comics and you've, been treated like shit by progressives and SJWs in the industry for the last 5 to 10 years. It's just been getting worse and worse and worse. And 2016, it went over the edge when everyone just lost their collective minds when Trump won the presidency. And I can understand just being fed up and just being like, F it all. But for Dave and people like him, because I'm like this too, I empathize with this emotion very much. But I commented, you can't see the reply here, but I commented to him, it's like, be wary about letting, that hate, I forget exactly what I said, but not hate per se, but, just the negative feelings towards these people. A lot of these people are deceived, right? His comic book store owner, I don't know him, but I'm willing to bet he's deceived. He's under the progressive spell. Scott Snyder, probably as well. Probably a mix of, sort of emotional blackmail and pressure being in the industry. Think about it. We're now living in an industry or a world where people, they'll lose their jobs if they don't have the right ideology, if they don't go out there and profess the beliefs. And, it's easy for some of us to be like, oh, well, they should just stand up and da-da-da-da, but not everyone wants to fight a war of everything, and some of these people, like Scott, I'm willing to bet, I don't know Scott very well, although he has DM'd me. That was pretty impressive to me. Like, I'm a nobody, why are you DMing me? But he seems like a guy who's genuine. He does care about people, and I think he really cares about comics. He is a comic nerd, and this is his lifelong dream. He wants to write comics, and he's getting to. And it's not like, some schmo you I don't know what kind of jobs are out there. You could work at a car dealership selling cars, and you don't get along, or someone's like, well, you're going to lose your job. Well, you just go to sell cars somewhere else, or go find another job, right? You work in comics, and you're writing, and you're working for the big two. There's nowhere else to go. I guess you can try to write other things like screenplays or books, but comics is a medium that the people that get into it, the people that really get into it, they love that. They don't necessarily want to go to Netflix and get a show or movies. Now, that's not to say that they don't ever want to do that. My point is that they're not writing comics as just a stepping stone. They're not looking to get out. They might go, that'd be really cool to do that, and if opportunity came, I might pursue it, but I just grew up wanting to write comics. I'm in love with comics. I think Scott's one of those people. I think his owner his LCS is also probably one of those people. There's a reason why Dave liked this guy before. There's a reason why the guy has a comic book shop. Almost everyone gets a comic book shop because they love comics, not because they're like, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to open a business. Which one should I do? Should I open a McDonald's franchise or a comic shop? It's like you do one if you want to make money. You do the other if you want to enjoy your job. And I think there's a lot of people that are deceived. And so my feeling on this whole issue kind of really sums up. It's very easy for me to make decisions on this, on how I treat other people and whether or not I let them affect my passion for comics and things like that. How do you treat me? That's it. If I walked into my comic book shop and I saw the owner spurging about Trump, but he wasn't talking to me at all, and he wasn't talking about Trump supporters, or he was just like, I hate that Trump, and he's ruining the damn economy, and blah blah blah, and damn. I don't agree with it. I don't like seeing Trump derangement syndrome, but when I get my comics and he all of a sudden shifts gears and he's professional to me, it's like, oh, hey Ash, good to see you. You're picking up your books, he's treating me professionally. That's what I care about, right? If he's not harshing on the fans, me, customers, or he's not harshing on the people whose ideas, he's like, all Trump supporters are fucking, they should never shop at my store. I might go, oh, okay, that's different. Now, if Dave's old LCS owner was doing that, then, I kind of understand Dave's position. But if he's just making excuses for rioters, which I way disagree with, right? I think the rioters need to all get arrested, go to jail, face justice. But having an opinion on that is not someone I'm going to walk away from because your opinion's different than mine. Now, like I said, if it crosses that line where it's like, well, you're stupid, and I don't want any people who are against the rioters to shop in my store, then I'm like, okay, dude, now you're not professional. So everyone's going to do what they're going to do. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. What's important to you is what's important to you. I'm just trying to offer a different perspective. And Dave, if you're listening, your LCS owner way better than I do. I don't know him at all, but think about that a little bit. Think about, we need to have a little bit of tolerance to differing opinion, as much as it pisses us off, right? Because it's that old adage, that old thing about, I don't agree with what you say, but I will, fight for your right to say it. And it's one thing to say it, but it's also to like practice it. And I try to practice it. I try to encourage other people to practice it. And I thought what Dave said, like, it just really struck me because it's very easy for the pendulum to swing the other way. So I think Dave's a really good guy. I think his heart's in the right place, and hopefully he gets to hear my voice and my thoughts. And I don't know, hopefully things can work out for the best. Next, we got the boxing comic reader Montenegro. That's a mouthful YouTube name. This is from my Storytime Live episode 26. He comments, "Hey Ash, great video. Love your content, man. Also had a few questions. What is or was your relationship with League of Comic Geeks? And how did you receive a 20% discount with them? Is there a way that you can purchase comics weekly from their pull list? Or do you have to get a 20% off my comics every week?" So, this was really difficult to answer and type, so I wanted to address this personally. League of Comic Geeks, I've been meaning to do a video on this, is a website. It's also an app, but their app sucks. So, log in. Sometimes the website's really slow. So I always just go to the website, even if you're on mobile. It works just like the interface is just like the app, but for some reason, especially if you're on Apple, it works better on my Android. But anyway, so the website is this, the app, whatever. Done. So it's a community website that lets you do multiple things, like track your comic book collection, see what new comics are coming out, track your pull list. So for instance, I can go here to my comics. And this isn't all my comics. This is just the new comics when I came back into the hobby. I still have tons of old stuff that I would have to enter. But this is like my recent collection. And it tracks what you collect and so forth. I can go to my pull list and it'll show me like, hey, this week, spoiler alert. I can go ahead next week, see what my pull, a couple weeks previous. Here's what my pull list was supposed to be. So you have that. You have new comics. I can click on the top here and it'll show me here's all the new comics that came out for the week. I can sort it by like, let's say I only get DC comics. I could just do DC. And again, sometimes it runs a little slow. But so here you go. Now it's just all the new DC books. And you can add them to your pull list. That's what these buttons are for and so forth. So it does some cool things. One of the things that it does, though, on your pull list is that you have a drop down and you have subscriptions. Hello, drop down. This is the mobile version. The on PC it works better. So here's my subscription list, right? So this is all the stuff that I get. Tells me what my series, publisher, what the next pull is on the release date, right? And so you can see this is my pull list. It doesn't have it on this version, at least not where I'm familiar with it, but it has a section where it shows like what you can do is you can go in and it'll make a printable version of your pull list, which is probably where I'm guessing he saw was I made a printout, and you can see let's see, I go here. You can go to your pull list. Yeah, here we go. And you go to print, and it makes a printout, which you can see here. Like it shows you my comics, subtotal, discount, tax. The discount and the tax is what I enter manually. That's what my store's discount is and what this tax is in San Diego. So it tells me essentially now what my total is going to be when I go to the store. If I get exactly these books, which sometimes I get something extra or something doesn't come in, right? This is not a place to buy comics. So that's the whole long and short. I just took an opportunity to show you a little bit more about what League of Comic Geeks was. So boxing comic book reader Montenegro, the only way you get a discount is going to your local store. My store offers a 20% discount for, basically you have to get a membership card. It's $15 to sign up, and then it's $10 a year every year after. Super deal if you buy comics. And that, of course, if you're a pull list person, you're going to have this. They have a bigger, more premium version you can buy too, which gives you discount off of toys and like back issue. I get a discount on back issues. I get a big discount on back issues and new issues. Back issues 10%, new issues is 20%. If you get the VIP thing, you get off of toys, pops, trade paperbacks, all the other stuff that they sell. But I don't care about that, so I only get the normal one. That's the answer, long and the short. Like I said, I took that as an opportunity to show everyone what League of Comic Geeks is. I use it. I recommend you check it out for yourself and use it. It's really cool. Stupid touchscreen. Last, we got Mighty Mito Maria. She writes, I'm not armed, nor am I rioting or looting. I'm not white, nor am I black. I worked for 25 years within state governance. I've given much to many. If you believe in the U.S. Constitution, then you must believe in the right to assemble with today's language, including peaceful protest. What you are stating is that all incorrect protesters are rioting and looting. You also state that those are protesting ethno-fascists. I believe she meant to say that all those that are protesting are ethno-fascists. Before I share more, Ash, I would like to know your definition of ethno-racist prior to more comment. P.S. I can assure you that COVID-19 is real. I barely made it through. I cannot tell you where or who made this hypervirus. Having lived through it, it felt like a virus. I also cannot wait for a full unlocking of our society. There's no reasons humans cannot go freely about their lives now. A total unlocking is needed. Now, Maria has written some thoughtful comments on my channel before, and I understand that I can be very strongly opinionated and have strong views on many things, including this whole COVID thing, and of course now the rioting and looting and protesting. So this was not an easy thing to address in response in a YouTube chat. So I wanted to take this time to address Maria and the rest of you that might have any questions or just clarification on my views here. So apparently on one of my videos, I was probably ranting about the protesting and so forth. I want to make it clear that I do not think everyone protesting is rioter. If I ever said such a thing, I never intended to say ever such a thing. If I ever said such a thing, it was a misspeak, or maybe I just said it and it was interpreted incorrectly. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of people that are just protesters, no rioting. I absolutely believe that. However, there's a lot of people rioting and looting, right? And if you are part of a peaceful protest, right? Let's say you're out in the city and there's 5,000 people and you're all protesting. Well, let's say 25% of the people in your big protest start breaking out and they start burning stuff and breaking things and all that stuff. Well, you might be peaceful. You might be going, I don't want this, but you're part of that mob now, right? If you don't disperse, you're part of that mob. Even though you individually aren't doing anything wrong, even though you aren't looting, you're not rioting, right? You are still part of the mob. That's sort of the fuel to the fire. At which point, if I were a protester and that was happening, I would disperse. Because at that point, while you individually did not break the peaceful protest thing, like you didn't do anything wrong, the protest as a whole did. It ceased being a peaceful thing, and it needs to be shut down. Law enforcement has to come in and stop the other people from causing harm to people that are just minding their own business. People who have shops have a right to not have their shops broken, vandalized, and burned down. They have a right not to be robbed. People have a right not to be beaten on the street. And just because some people in the protest, even if it's a majority, are being peaceful, doesn't mean that we get to stop and not bring law and order. Now, again, I want to clarify, I know people go in with good intentions, they're peaceful, but you got to disperse. And you do your protest later. Protest again another time. Or try to work to stop the people that are tarnishing your good name, the rioters and the looters. Because if the good protesters leave, then the only thing left is the rioters and looters, and it makes it so much easier to clean up the mess. What's happening is protesters who are peaceful are getting caught in the crossfire, and then they're protesting being caught in the crossfire, and they're causing more harm than good. The police can't do their job effectively because now we have peaceful protesters going, "What are you doing? You're harshing my gig. You're stopping us from We're not the bad guys." Maybe not, but you're standing in between the law enforcement and the bad guys. Disperse. Let us clean up all the mess. Then you can go back to protesting. That's my feelings on that. About ethno-fascists. It's my personal belief that BLM is an ethno-fascist movement. They're a movement that is strictly about one race only. They have made it very clear that they are not about all lives matter. From their own verbiage, they're not about all lives. They're not about all lives matter. They are only about Black Lives Matter. So that's ethno. That's where the term ethno. It's ethnocentric. Fascist comes from the fact that they're fascist. They are national corporatists. That's what fascism is. It's nationalized corporatism. It's the difference between fascism and communism at its most basic is that communism is the idea that the state just sort of owns everything through the people. The people own everything, but realistically it's the state under the pretenses of the people. They do it in our stead. The state owns everything for the people. They're the carol. Fascists are just like, well, we'll just let the corporations and we'll just control the government will control the corporations, and then it really ultimately works out to be essentially a same thing, just takes a different road to get there. They're both far left ideologies. They're both completely totalitarian. They're both anti-personal freedom. And there are fascists, and then there's ethno-fascists. And the most popular ethno-fascists ever were the Nazis, right? I would make an argument that current day China is ethno-fascist. Basically, it's fascist ideology centered around race, right? The Chinese are very racist. We're all homogenous Chinese. Everyone, other race doesn't matter. The Nazis were very Aryan nation. All the other races don't matter. Black Lives Matter is under the guise of a protest group, but it's very clear when you look at the behind the scenes that they are very much promoting corporatist powers in government, and they're doing it through a racist ideology of black supremacy. And that's why I say ethno-fascist. And what's weird is that we're seeing all these other races, mostly seems to be white, pushing this as well. And I don't think they understand that they're just being used. Basically, whites are being used to destroy other whites. And then once one half of the whites is defeated, then the other one, the same thing happened with the Jews. Jews were used, they were played off against each other, and then the remaining Jews were then put on the trains. So these are things that are difficult to say. I don't know if my video is going to get taken off of YouTube for hate speech. These are my personal beliefs, and I think it's dangerous. COVID-19 is real? Absolutely. My roommate I live with is a professional. He's a medical professional. He's where I get a lot of my medical information. I try to run everything that I've learned through him to say, hey, does this jive with things you understand? I understand that it's real. What I don't think is real is the severity of the pandemic. What I don't think is real is the threat level that's being presented to us, right? I definitely do believe lots of people are getting sick. I do believe people are dying, and it's from a real virus. Just as I also believe lots of people get sick from the flu, and lots of people die from the flu. As a matter of fact, there have been flu seasons where more people have died from the flu than have died from COVID. But the media doesn't talk about this because they don't want you to realize that the threat isn't as big as they're trying to make it out to be, because no one would say, let's lock down this country for the flu. So, COVID is real. I absolutely agree. I wear a mask out of respect everywhere I go, not because of the law. I mean, obviously I do because of the law, but So I spent a lot of time talking on this. I know maybe I bored some people that don't care about these comments, but Maria, I believe you deserved a thoughtful response to your thoughtful inquiries. For anyone else that was bored, I apologize. Of course, this being YouTube, you can always just skip ahead, so I don't feel too sorry. But that's it. Thank you, Maria. Please keep commenting, keep questioning. Always have an open dialogue. I'm happy that you watch my channel, and I look forward to hearing more from you. So, my comic book haul is super tiny. I almost didn't go to the comic book store today because I was like, well, I use this thing called League of Comic Geeks, and I see my pull list, what's supposed to be at the store every week, and I plan it out. And I was like, oh, there's going to be 3 books there. Is it really worth going down to the store to pick up 3 books? I don't know. But then I was like, well, I got these other books that I was supposed to get last week that I couldn't because I didn't have them because, again, Diamond sucks. So I was like, well, that's 6 books. That's worth going down to the store. So I went down there, and sure enough, I only got half my book, so I only got 3 books anyway. So let's start off with Independence. We got Birthright 44. Now, I told you before in the last episode that I'm behind on Birthright, and apparently I'm going to get a lot more behind because what I'm discovering is that a lot of these comics weren't put on pause during the when the industry went on pause, so now they're being rushed out. It's like a monthly book is now being put out every 2 weeks. Sometimes these bi-weekly books are being put out weekly. It's like the floodgates have opened, and it's like, oh, we're behind, so we got to push these out, which really sucks because part of the whole thing about the pandemic and not being able to buy comics, the silver lining was I don't have any money to buy comics, so this is kind of a good thing. But if I still have to go back and now buy those comics anyway, and it was just really, pushing back the inevitable, that's not working for me. So I'm just gonna have to cancel comics. But Birthright, it's Birthright. I've talked so much about that ad nauseum. Next, Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics, number 3. If you're not picking up Usagi Yojimbo, you're just missing out. if you're judging this comic because there's a cartoon rabbit and there's cartoon things and you go, this looks silly and it's like it's for kids, and no, Stan Sakai is a master. There's a reason why Usagi Yojimbo has been one of the best comics on the shelves for 35 years. This is the old school Usagi. It's a new school cover, but inside is the old art from the Fantagraphics. It's still great. And it's colorized, so it's not just a reprint book. This is how a reprint book should be done, in my opinion. It's like a remaster. I wish they would actually do that more. I think DC and Marvel would be. If I were Marvel, I would be bringing back classic X-Men, and I would be doing the Chris Claremont run of classic X-Men, and I would be recoloring it. Just. Even if you don't want to go all the way back to Giant Size X-Men number 1, if you want to start in, later era, maybe the 200s or something, just, that great Silvestri art, Jim Lee art, bring it back, nice paper. And, they couldn't do the full coloring like they can today because the paper wouldn't hold it and stuff like that. That's a way to do it. And, I'd almost want to buy it. I think a lot of people would want to get quality comics. There's probably a lot of good stuff I missed. I'm picking up Usagi Yojimbo, even though I have the old Fantagraphics stuff. And you can too. I recommend there's Usagi Yojimbo, the normal run, and then there's the Color Classics run. So there's 2 books coming out from IDW, and I can't speak to these highly enough. And I'm blabbering because I only got 3 books to show you. And the last, but certainly not least, we got DC, and it's Hawkman 24, with a pretty striking cover by Brian Hitch, who launched the series, did the first 12 issues with Venditti. It was sad to see him go on to do a Batman book that no one seems to care about. But I'm looking forward to catching up on Hawkman and doing some reviews for this. When everything went on pause, Hawkman was just, reaching its peak again. So very excited. And that's it. I only have 3 issues. Here's my list. The underlined stuff is what I couldn't get. So Batman, Superman, number 9, 2 weeks ago apparently came out. I don't have it. Batman 92, still don't have it. And no Death Metal, number 1. What the F? Some people might be going, oh, don't worry about it. You're not missing much. I've seen people, some the murmurings and people saying it's not that good. But the point is why can't I have? So I got to wait till next week, or maybe in the case of Death Metal, 2 more weeks. Who knows? It's going to be good. See, my store is still using Diamond. They didn't use Lunar or whatever the new ones are. They're still on Diamond. So guess what? You don't get your books from Diamond. And all the people that are criticizing DC and saying, oh, why are you abandoning Diamond? Because they don't ship your books. Batman is the biggest book in the industry. And if you can't ship it, I couldn't get it last week, and I couldn't get it this week. Diamond. Death Metal, probably one of the biggest. Never mind. So any proponents out there going, oh, it's Diamond and DC abandoned. No, DC had to do what was good for business. So the rest of us customers, actual customers, the end user, the one that stores have to sell to, could deliver their books. So anyways, this is going to be real easy to fan out this time, right? Which is going to be the best? These are 3 solid books right here, man. I can't pick. So I'm going to cheat this week, and I'm not going to. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe. Check out the live stream shows. I do Sunday night, Tuesday, and Thursday night. It's at 10 p.m. Pacific time. It's kind of like a hangout, right? It's just a bunch of locals, not locals, a bunch of regulars. We talk on the stream. It's just me on the stream. No one wants to stream with me, but just me streaming, and a bunch of regulars in the chat talking comics, whatever topics are on our mind, and then I read 2 different comics. So what we're doing right now, the main event comic is Invincible. I'm doing the first 6 issues, I believe, of the Invincible series, soon to be an animated series on Netflix. I'm not getting paid to promote that. And then I do an opening comic, which I don't have really plans. I'm not sure what those would be. So that'll be a surprise. But I do take suggestions. Look forward to seeing you. Leave comments down, right somewhere down there where you type. And for Stan and Forky, I'll see you next time.